Just days before the Christmas holiday, and a snow band is headed our way. Parts of Washington state have seen quite a bit of the white stuff lately. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. After seeing that, and with holiday-related shopping or travel still ahead, the forecast for the coming days becomes even more important.
Now, Hutch mentioned earlier tonight the chance of snow. Let's turn to him right away now for the latest on this. Hutch?
Thanks so much, you guys. We are ringing in the holiday season, and today being the winter solstice, we're talking about more wintry weather. Tonight, just a few flurries in northwest Minnesota. This not really even associated with the main system, so this will continue to pass through. A winter storm watch has been posted for all of our northern counties along Highway 2 and points north as we go through the day tomorrow. It does look like our best chance of accumulating snow will be north of the FM area, a trace here, but Grand Forks and up toward the Highway 2 corridor in the Devil's Lake Basin, isolated locations in the far north could see up to 8 inches of snow as we go through the day, so be prepared for wintry travel conditions beginning tomorrow morning. I'll have hour-by-hour details on when it hits and how long it lasts, and a look at that forecast for the rest of our holiday week here in just a moment.
It'll sure be a white Christmas.
It sure looks like
it.
it. Yep.
Thank you, Hutch.
What's considered the shortest day of the year is considered the longest night for the homeless.
On the very first official day of winter, dozens took to the streets in downtown Fargo to stand for more than 100 people who died locally in just the past few years, all because of homelessness. Valley News Team's Krista Boehm walked with them and has our story.
With every pound of the drum and with every step, dozens remember the lives of those who died because they didn't have a true home.
That should never happen in a community of compassion.
A coffin draws attention in the cold. They bear it, knowing the homeless they walk for may sleep in far colder weather.
Some of these guys, they would come in and they'd take off their layers of coats. They had layers of ponchos and shoes and boots, and they'd pull it out of their jackets, and it was like 40 below, 50 below, 60 below wind chill. These guys were homeless out there. How they did it, I have no idea.
Sandy Berlin walks as a friend, a sister, and someone who used to be homeless with her kids.
Many times we had to start over, so I know the struggle.
They made their way to a place that's opened their hearts and doors to those who need it most, sharing stories of the Gladys Ray Homeless Shelter and the trend of those who walked in.
Most of the people were people of color. What's going on in this community? The people here who I know, who go to work, and they're strong individuals, they're smart, how come they're not able to provide for their families?
To remember, but also to open your eyes to the stereotypes with drugs, alcohol, or depression that make it even harder to help the homeless.
Really, what shocks me more are people's attitudes towards homeless individuals. You know, the violence that homeless people experience, it's mostly caused by people who aren't homeless.
Walking together to show just how big the problem is.
This is real. This is Fargo-Moorhead too, and let's do something about it.
There's not a day that goes by that I don't think of the people out in the streets. They're the ones that we've left, that left us way too soon because they didn't have a home.
Krista Boehm, Valley News Live.
It's estimated around 1,000 people a night are homeless, staying on the street, in cars, or in shelters.
An apartment fire left behind about $20,000 worth of damages this afternoon in Castleton. The fire chief there says flames and smoke were seen coming from a window when first responders arrived. But before long, the fire crews were able to get the fire out. The damage was contained to just one apartment, but the entire 18-unit complex was ventilated to clear out light smoke throughout the building. Meanwhile, a North Fargo mother was taken to the hospital today for burns on her face and hands after a fire at a home there. She was one of 9 people that escaped their twin home after fire broke out in the basement. The family had guests staying with them and told us that the cause could have been a heater. The damage estimate is about $70,000.
About 3 weeks, that's how long one Fargo gun store owner says business has been booming. Bill's Gun Shop and range owner John Munson says it's the aftermath of San Bernardino's terrorist attacks. He says people are asking questions and getting educated. The classes at Bill's Gun Shop have doubled in size, and they're adding more to keep up with demand.
The American people have finally thought, Jesus, these terrorists, they really are in bed in our society. They're in our cities, they're in my neighborhood. And so we're seeing a lot of people taking carry classes. Seeing people taking a lot of basic firearms classes.
Bill's Gun Shop and Range opened in Fargo in October. They're planning to open a Moorhead location as well sometime early next year.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention announced it's investigating a new outbreak of E. coli connected to Chipotle, and this time North Dakota is on the list. Right now, the CDC doesn't know if the more recent cases are tied to the larger outbreak that began in October. Chipotle announced that it would revise its standards after reports of illnesses. Some of the changes include high-resolution testing of ingredients and enhanced food safety training for team members.
The Mall of America has filed for a restraining order against leaders of Black Lives Matter. It's an attempt to head off a protest scheduled for one of the busiest shopping days of the year. The request for the temporary restraining order says BLM has been using its Facebook and Twitter pages to promote a demonstration at the Mall of America. In asking for a restraining order, attorneys for the MOA point to a similar protest held on December 20th, 2014, involving about 1,000 protesters inside the mall. A number of demonstrators were arrested and charged with trespassing. The legal action maintains that Mall of America and its tenants suffered irreparable harm, including reduced guests and sales. In asking for this to stop the protest, the mall's lawyers say that it simply is an issue of private property rights.
This is not about free speech. This is not about whether or not these folks have a good cause. Of course they have a good cause. This is about where you demonstrate. And you demonstrate in places like this, in a courthouse. Mall of America on Wednesday is a place to take your kids and shop.
Black Lives Matter leaders say regardless of any legal issues, the protest is still going to happen as planned.
A proposal to give Fargo city workers a day off for Martin Luther King Jr. Day has failed, but expected to be back. Mayor Tim Mahoney supports the idea. He and Commissioner Mike Williams voted yes tonight, while Commissioners Dave Pepcorn and Tony Gehrig voted no. Melissa Sobolik wasn't there, so it died on a 2-2 vote. Williams said afterwards the commission will most likely be discussing it again at a later date. Remember to like Valley News Live on Facebook. You can follow the latest news, weather, and breaking news updates anytime on your feed. Just search Valley News Live, like our page, and you'll stay informed throughout the entire day.
The Salvation Army announced today that a fourth gold coin, a fourth one, was dropped into a red kettle. A 1-ounce maple leaf worth just over $1,000 was found in a red kettle last Saturday at Family Fair on University Drive in Fargo. In addition to this coin, the Salvation Army received a 1/4-ounce gold coin worth $284 late last week. Last Tuesday, a 1-ounce Krugerrand worth $1,085 and a 1-ounce Buffalo worth $1,100 were donated. And on Wednesday, another 1-ounce Krugerrand worth more than $1,000 was discovered in a kettle.